2 terms, and now what is happening now. Because even within Parliament itself, there's a lot of debate about what's happening, especially with the examples being given about Kiharu constituency. And not very many people are comfortable with that. Has the pressure changed? Are people now demanding more accountability in as far as development is concerned?
No, I think the issue of the social media has really backed on our work. That now Kenyans are able to compare MPs from different constituencies and how they are performing. But the truth of the matter is, as Kipto says, the issue is when you are campaigning, how do you package your messaging? Because if you are a leader who always package your messaging in terms of saying what people should hear and not saying what should be done, then you have a problem. Like me, since I became a member of parliament, I've always ensured what I say is what I will do. And what I can't do, I tell them I can't do. For example, the issue of unemployment has been a major, major issue all over the country. And you hear when we are campaigning, the newcomers would come and say, this MP can't employ any of your sons, he has not managed to employ, and then they say we'll be employing. So anytime I go to the people, I ask them, what is the national reality? The national reality is unemployment is a major problem. And if you are just a mere member of parliament in a constituency situated somewhere, and you are cheating people, you will employ them, it's a white lie, you can see it. So in that case, when you go in, if you have come in saying, I'll give you employment, and you go in and you are not able, when the time comes for elections, you'll be sacked. So what is happening currently is MPs are being held accountable for their statements. And if you want to be safe, you must say what you know is achievable. Yeah. Like, this comparison which is coming over the place. I see a lot of misrepresentation of facts. Because, when I took over as a member of parliament for Kitui Central, I had to do a situational analysis to find out what is my constituency by the time I'm taking it, in terms of school infrastructure, in terms of electricity connection, in terms of roads, and it's on the basis of that then I program my projects and programs that I'm able to say, since these are the needs, this is what I can do, based on what I can get from the government and my own network, if I get an extra amount. But you see what Kenyans are not picking is, and more so in the social media, you compare Kiharu and Mutunga's constituency, and you don't look at the history. So you must look at the history. And that's why I'm saying, what I see mostly in the social media is people don't do enough research. To appreciate. That is now
a reality that you have to live with.
Yeah, that people don't do. No, it's a reality you have to live with. But the truth of the matter is, people must also do research so that you understand the situation. For example, if you are to compare schools in my constituency and another constituency, you must find out what is the number of schools in that constituency. What is the student population? What is the state of those schools? Because if you come to my Kitui Central Township ward, where I come from, I'm doing story buildings. In the other areas, I can't do. Why am I doing story buildings in town? It's because even land is an issue. So I need to go up so that I save on land. But when people see that, they will say, you are getting story buildings, this constituency, we are not getting here. And these are the issues. So you can't compare apples and oranges. You must be able to compare oranges and oranges.
Do you understand why people are so frustrated about that comparison, especially when it comes to Kiharu constituency? This disappointment, especially within the House. People don't like that comparison.
I think the Kiharu statement has terribly misinformed development in Kenya. Because first of all, we need to ask ourselves, who was there as member of parliament? What did they do? Where did Honorable Didi Nyoro pick Kiharu from? If he picked Kiharu when it had permanent structures, they were all plastered, they had plastered walls and the floors were done, then he only needs to put tiles. And he can only do cabro outside there. CDF does not restrict you to do some of those things because you are developing the environment. In my constituency, I picked a constituency where I have 107 schools, public, and most of them were in dilapidated state, terrible state. In fact, I used to go to some of them and talk to parents and tell them, your school looks like a hyena. A hyena doesn't have shapes, attractive shapes. There's a classroom there which is wooden. There's another one here which is just a structure. It's a mabati. Then there's another one here which is a stone, brick done, stone done. But then it doesn't have doors, doesn't have floor, it does not be plastered or anything. So I have to do a strategy to develop Tigania. I did the first strategic plan for Tigania West, 2017, 2027, for 10 years. And we have systematically developed across, because I took sublocation as the unit of development and created sublocation development promoters, people who will sit and think and meet and talk about development in their area. I took 5 fronts. One is education. First of all, we look at improvement of the performance itself. We were the last in Meru County. We were always trailing in both the KCPE and KCSE. Right now, before KCPE went, we were number 6. And before KCPE, yeah, before KCPE, KCSE, we are around number 5. Let me talk about figures. When I took Tigania West, we had taken 59 students to the university, all the secondary schools, there were 51. 50 secondary schools. So out of 50, it's like one secondary school was taking one student to the university. Now, that has progressively improved. The following year, we took 85. The second year, 157. The third year, 276. Last year but one, we took 616. Last year, we took 726. So if you are moving from 59 to 700, is more than 1,100%. That's improvement. When you look at the infrastructure itself, we have come up with an academization model where we are transforming public schools into academies. Right now, I can talk of 28% of my schools are fully academized. So when Mwenda talks about schools being in diets, he is looking at the social media classroom by that off teacher who is trying to portray us wrongly. You know, I am wondering why the teacher should fight a member of parliament, because I think it's ethically not correct. If I may look at the entire, we have completely improved. Fixed floors for schools, put plasters on the walls, put windows properly. And then we have 60% of the schools are semi-academized, meaning they are more than 50% done. We have only 10%, 12%, which is not fully academized. That 12%, which is now work in progress, has got maybe 2 or 3 classes which are now permanent. The others are still waiting. Okay. Again, people will not let you finish one school here, and then they wonder, and you need votes from all over. They are all your people. So I want to spread development across the constituency because everybody needs it. Let me put another comment. You know, when population surge, when there's a population surge in a school, it's not an emergency. Again, a school request for support. As members of parliament can only guide NCs in the, this one looks like a genuine case. Please look at it, factor it in your budget. National Government Constituency Development Fund, the local committee considers those proposals and then passes their budget to Nairobi for approval. It is approved around October. If your budget is not, if your issue is not captured, until next year.
Don't you feel that members of parliament set themselves up for failure, especially with this CDF? It was not the role of a member of parliament to carry out development at the constituency level, but now, because of your insistence on CDF, pay for that as well.
Let me tell you something. If there is any fund in this country that has done a splendid job, a good job, that has touched the lives of Kenyans, it is NGCDF. Okay. And NGCDF is not under the member of parliament, it's basically under the board of NGCDF. We only propose, we only point, because we are socially connected to the people. We know the issues, the nitty-gritties to tell them this school needs to be focused on.
Yeah, that was never the initial plan.
And maybe
members of parliament were supposed to engage in a...
Fred, maybe before we go to Joshua, just a quick write on this. You know, it's a requirement that every 5 years you have a strategic plan. Each constituency in Kenya. Yeah. And all of us, we have strategic plans for 5 years. So if we were to do the best comparison, is you should evaluate members of parliament based on the strategic plans which have been prepared by their boards.
All right. Wakili.
One thing I think I wish to point, the reason why you have this fight of CDF is because, as I've said, the gap. What people expect and what the leader can deliver. So all Kenyan leaders always feel they must have a fund somewhere. And the story never ends. At the moment, the Senate is fighting for its oversight fund. The women rep have the affirmative, NGAV. The MPs still have the CDF, even though Mutunga would say they don't control, but it's a fact. MPs run it direct. What the board does is basically administrative work, but the power and the control lies with the MPs in terms of project prioritization and the rest. Now, so that's a reality. And as you say, then when you make your bed, you lay on it. Because once you set up yourself to your constituents that you can offer and deliver, then nothing much. And you know, for CDF, People will not have time to listen where you'll tell them it's only bursary and basically their county functions. We've never have clarity. We've never, as a country, gotten to the finishing line where we clearly demarcate what belongs to the county, what belongs to the national. We still have those. Even the entities like Kerakura, they are basically a product of that unfinished business. Otherwise, counties could do county roads, national, the national government could do national roads. Be that as it may, I also wanted to mention something. An MP may complain and say someone must do research and people should do. Remember, in a governance space, everyone has a responsibility. Some are just agitators. So I would think MPs should do the opposite. Because we are in an information space where everything is laid out to the table, social media has globalized the conversation, and that's why it's easy to just take photos and compare two constituencies. It is then the incumbent upon the leader to move with time. It is now, in fact, you're being given a chance to showcase and say, okay, fine, you've said that, I'll take you toe to toe. Please come with your cameras, come with your people, let's walk the journey. This is what I've done. Let us see what, in fact, I think it gives the MP the chance to demystify and sell the agenda. Because if someone criticizes, if someone lies, if someone exaggerates, it creates attention and hype around it. As Honorable Mutunga says, someone has gone and done that. Then you ride with that wave and say, okay, fine, let us put facts to paper. And I saw that when the former Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, went hammer on the Northeastern bloc. One of the MPs that I think impressed me is Adan Keynan. He mentioned, I think last week, he even issued a statement. He said, fine, it is true that we've been maligned and we are seen to be the one just building flats and flooding the CDF money meant for the northeastern counties of Mandera, Wajir, and Garissa to Nairobi. We are the one being accused of doing all these apartments here. So he said, him as Adan Keynan, who's done almost 4 times, if I'm not wrong, I want to walk this conversation. I want to invite members of the Fourth Estate. I want to invite activists. I want to invite all of them. I want to take them through the true state of affairs at Elders constituency. Now, that is what I feel should do. The same applies to county governments. I'm not even having issues much with the MPs. To be honest, to be fair, if you're to be very objective, MPs have done better with the CDF than the county governments with their allocation. That's a fact. I've served in a county as a speaker, and I can tell you, if you look at the impact of the bursaries the MPs have done, if you look at the development MPs have done for schools, infrastructure, it cannot be matched by county governments who only manage the ECD facility. If you look at the projects the national government through the MPs have been able to lobby and get done, even though to be fair also, they have a bigger allocation, but you can see for some reason you can give them some credit. Where the problem then lies is counties. If counties then could do better, and that's why I feel as we do the comparative analysis for the constituencies, I think 70% of our work and effort should be, why don't we compare counties? Because counties have executive offices, they have CCs, they have the money, and they have the structures all the way to the ward level that should match the development. So that if I'm to pick Nairobi County, and I pick, for example, my county government of Nandi, it is so simple, not promises. In fact, this conversation on the next elections, for example, for county government should be different. It should be, how much does Nandi County have? How much has been done with the money we get? And if you're to be elected, for example, as a governor of that county, what value do you bring? How do you match? So that I agree with Mheshimiwa when he's saying, when he speaks and promises, I would expect then when we go to the field, I'll be able to say the allocation for every project, for every sector is this amount. Right. Realistically, it will take me 5 years, for example, to achieve that. I think that conversation will be more productive.
And that is the kind of conversation happening across, especially on social media. People are demanding accountability from their leaders, and it looks like this time around, members of the National Assembly will be judged purely on the performance of their CDF, more than anything else.
I'd like to comment on one thing that Akito has brought on the table. There is the issue of MP doing legislation representation and oversight, which we would be very happy to do. That's the ideal situation.
But you're rarely judged on that.
That's the ideal situation when you are having a country like, for instance, America, where development is taken care of completely. Here, we are dealing with development now and scarcity, which is very, very high. So you really have to scrabble for little to take to your people.
All right.
And the other issue is, I have also taken up some of the media houses and asked them on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to go to Tigania and go around and pick whatever they are. Go to any school. Interview anybody. They'll be able to get development that has been done. I'm ready to stand by my record. The only thing I'm telling you is the roads, nothing else. Everything else is perfect.
All right, it's exactly 18 months to the next elections, and yes, jitters across board, especially among elected leaders. What will happen as they seek their re-election? Remember that we still have a conversation running online, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, and this is a question we've been asking. The question we are asking today is, do you see real leadership emerging from the united opposition? Do you see real leadership emerging from the united opposition, even as we continue judging the performance of our members of parliament, the senators as well? What do you see? Do you see a real option? Do you see leadership emerging from the united opposition? Or do you believe they are totally disjointed? All right? You should continue giving us your answers, and we'll be able to sample that as we continue. All right, so yes, I can see some of your feedback. Yeah, allow me just to take a look at that as well. Janet from Kenya says, yes, united opposition is on the right track. All right, something positive there from Janet. Do we have any other person who has commented on that? You can continue interacting with us. Sam Kip Kitur says, Karua is tested and tried. Just picked up one of the luminaries in that coalition. Mudhaura Desmond says, hawana agenda. Yes, kuna mtu hata anasema hawana akili, lakini sio hapo. Huyo hajatuma kwa social media, alisema kwa podium. Ngilu Matesha says, as Gen Z, we learned to expect less from politics. Yeah. Kuna wale wako totally disillusioned, they don't even care, wanasema politicians, hiyo tuliwacha. Caprice Lightbringer says, no, they'll end up creating more division in the voting blocks, and WSR may end up back in office, more used to the same playbook. There are people whose reading of politics is totally different. Brian says, only Matiang'i has an agenda. Wengine wote agenda yao ni one term. One term haitatusaidia. Keep interacting with us. Mwangi Michael, for me, there is none. Yeah. And the final one here by Maureen Njoroge says, yes, if only they re-strategize and find a vision they want to achieve for Kenya, else with one term, there'll be no real leadership there. All right, so keep interacting with us on our social media pages, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, TV47 Digital on X, even as we continue looking at the politics. So yes, we are done with politics of development and what will be the yardstick that will be used to judge whether or not our members of parliament should be re-elected. I want us now to